What's up, guys? It's Chad with Living the Van Life up here in Washington. And today we're up at Mount Baker. It's about 5,000 feet elevation and it is freaking cold. In the past, I've done a few videos about surviving the cold. And in those videos, I talked about some of the equipment that I've prepped myself with that helps me get through the cold times living in a van. Some people have the luxury of being able to take off down south and escape the cold winter days. But for those of us that have to survive it out in living in our vans, well, then hopefully you guys find this information useful. So I'm going to get into some of the details of what I've done in the years when I lived in my van. It's about 5 p.m. right now. The sun's gone down, the temperatures are dropping, there's a little bit of a breeze blowing, so that wind chill factor even drops even lower. I think it's about 19 degrees right now. So it's a perfect opportunity to get into some of the details of how to overcome weather when it comes to living in a van. I'm gonna get into the Mr. Buddy heater that is awesome. I don't believe in sleeping with that thing. I'm gonna talk about how I managed to overcome that challenge with the sleeping bag and what I wear when we go to bed. Also, we're gonna cook some food. We brought some ribs, and so it'll be a good old cookout. One thing to keep in mind while I'm discussing all these various items that have really helped me get through these cold times while living in a van, I'm gonna post links and a whole bunch of information in the description below this video. So if you wanna know more about any of the items, check out the links below. Okay, so one of the most important things when it comes to cold weather survival in a van is having good tires, because cold weather means dangerous conditions on the roads if it's icy or snowy. Because whether you're out for just a good old random adventure or you actually got to get yourself to some safety for a good night's rest, everything is riding on your tires. So on my van, I went with the BFG All Terrain KO2 series tires. These things, BFG is proven. You find these all-terrain tires on all sorts of adventures and expeditions across the country and around the world. So all-terrain tires, set yourself up with something that's actually going to get you there. Fact of the matter is, sometimes you're going to find yourself in conditions where all-terrain tires aren't even going to get you all the way through to where you need to go. So there's a few little tricks that you can help expedite that. One of those things is lowering the air pressure in your tires. It increases the amount of surface area of your tread that you actually have making contact with the surface. So that can be huge in getting you through some situations. And one of the tools that can actually really help you out in those situations, these little automatic deflators are awesome. You screw them onto your valve stems, pop the little ring, and it'll automatically deflate your tire to a pre-designated tire pressure. These little air down devices are super handy, and I recommend that everybody who's into any sort of adventuring, whether it's off-road, sand, snow, ice, deflating your tires just 10 to 15 psi can be hugely beneficial. And I keep a set of these in the pocket of my door of the van. However, if you're going to air down, one thing you have to remember is that when you get back to the highway and back onto dry pavement, you've got to be able to get your tire pressure back up to the manufacturer's recommended tire pressure. There's a lot of products on the market that will do that. You've got portable air compressors, you've got air compressors that you can permanently mount into your vehicle. Through my internet searches, I came across this bad boy right here. Right here in this super compact airtight box is an air compressor, and it's made by Air Armor. It's the M240. Right here inside you can see it's got a built-in compressor. It's got 12 volt leads. You just hook it up to a 12 volt source, hooks right up to your battery. It's got a 25-foot airline. So this thing can sit right here next to your battery, wherever your battery is on your vehicle. And typically the airline will reach to all 4 of your tires from one spot. It also comes with a number of other accessories that makes it nice for inner tubes, floaties, sports balls, whatever you like. Overall, I feel like this is an important piece of equipment to have with you during cold weather situations. A good set of all-terrain tires is number one. Beyond that, a quick deflate of your tire pressure can actually get you out of some pretty tough spots. But there are those times when things get deep and those other two items just won't cut it. And that's where an investment in a good set of tire chains becomes important, especially when it comes to two-wheel drives. Four-wheel drives, they got some options of getting themselves through some pretty deep stuff. And quite frankly, these things go everywhere with me. Yeah, even in the summertime. because you never know, you get into a muddy, slick situation, tire chains can even help you out in those situations. Here again is another piece of equipment that is worth a mention when it comes to cold weather survival. If you find yourself getting stuck, a high lift jack can be absolutely priceless when it comes to helping you get out of a situation. This bad boy stays permanently mounted right to the front of the van. It goes everywhere with me. When it comes to this item, sure, it might be a little bit of a luxury, but quite honestly, for me, I find it as a necessity. The Vanagon lighting, not great when it comes to the headlights. So when it comes time to be able to flip on that 300 watt LED light bar, it can really help getting out of a situation when you can see the road ahead of you. On the Vanagons, these ARB awnings are awesome. Okay, it might not be part of cold weather survival, but hey, maybe you're a group of friends wanting to go out and adventure even when it's cold, raining, snowing. These things unfold and it's almost like having a separate room right off of your van.
Yeah, like a baby.
So when it comes down to these kind of situations, there's always been a little bit of discrepancy when it comes to popping the top on the Westfalia. So that's one of the comparisons I'm going to do tonight. What can that heater actually do when the top is popped and it's below freezing outside? Because really, let's face it, when that top is popped, it brings a lot of comfort to living in a van. You got standing room, you've got place to store gear up top. Who knows, maybe you've got multiple people over and people are sleeping up top there. I'm gonna place the thermometer outside, place the thermometer inside. So ultimately, what can that Mr. Buddy heater do to uphold the temperatures? But it's about 6:15, the Vanagon set up, the top is popped, the heater's going. Temperatures are kind of steadied out, I'd say about 18 degrees. Let's take a look and see what things look like inside the van. And that's what I love about van life. Even when it's 18 degrees outside and it's winter time, the shelter that a Westfalia can provide. You throw in a propane heater and in 18 degree weather, it can be 65, 68 degrees, which is more than comfortable. What more do you need? So this is how I chill in my van when it's cold as heck outside. Most people don't even consider camping when it gets below 50 degrees. Here we are, it's 18 degrees out, it's cold, but you know what? We're still comfortable. My #1 goal with these videos is just to encourage you guys to go ahead and do it. Don't be afraid of cold weather. You can totally do it with a few simple pieces of equipment. So when it comes down to heating your space, you've got several options. Quite frankly, there's a lot of different options. Some are better than others, but what it comes down to is what works for you. Sure, the ultimate would be like a Propex or a Webasto heater. Those are all furnaces that exhaust the fumes and stuff outside. However, there's a lot that comes down to convenience when it comes to making a decision for a heat source, especially when you come living in a van. That's when it comes down to the Mr. Heater Big Buddy heater. I've been using this thing since 2012 and it has been solid for me. I've talked about this heat source in several other videos that I've done in the past, and you know what, I get the comments that people say, don't use that, those are dangerous, those are bad, yada yada yada. What it comes down to is this Big Buddy heater has proven itself to me. When it comes down to the fact that I can plug into the main source of propane on board and I can plumb that right into the heater, it doesn't get any better than that. Once I'm plumbed into the onboard system, I don't have to worry about the 1-pound bottles. But that's where convenience comes in yet again. The fact that you can actually run the Mr. Heater on propane bottles. You can run it off of 1 propane bottle or you can run it off of 2. And this thing puts out a whopping 18,000 BTUs. That's why at this point it's 18 degrees outside. We've got the Mr. Buddy heater on, the top is popped, and it's 68, 69 degrees inside here. Okay, so if we dig into this cabinet here, up in here we've got the hard lines from the onboard propane that run up to the stove. What I did is I went ahead and I teed into here with the soft line, which runs down. Then it comes out through this grommet that I've got. This is just one of those grommets that you can get from a hardware store that would go through a desk so you can run your wires through the desk. Come out of the cabinet with our soft line right here to this quick connector that's gonna hook right into the Mr. Heater. That's one of the other great things that I love about the Mr. Heater is the fact that it comes with the ability to plug in this quick connector, and essentially just like that, we're tapped into the onboard propane system. And with a couple clicks of the igniter, we've got instant heat. You know, one of the downsides is the fact that it actually does put some moisture in the air, and that's not necessarily the best for your van. I've been using this thing since 2012 when I lived in my van full time. This thing's never let me down. The other thing I will note is that I do not I repeat, I do not sleep with the heater on. Because what it comes down to is I just don't trust an open flame when it comes to sleeping through the night. So tonight's going to be one of those ultimate tests to see, because this is perhaps one of the coldest nights that I've ever slept in my van. I ain't going to do it with the heater on, so we'll see how it works out with the down sleeping bag. Temperatures are definitely still hanging in there, nice and low, 18 degrees. But hey, you know what? One of the other important parts about surviving the cold is the fact that you gotta eat. Right now we've got the BBQ on the back of Eldad's van, cooking up some good old ribs. These things are perfect. The great thing about the ribs is the fact that they come pre-packaged, pre-seasoned, ready to throw on the grill, and within a matter of minutes, you're mowing down on some serious, good tasting meat. That's where it's at right there. 5-pound rack of ribs on the BBQ. Oh,
dude, that was hot.
Oh, ribs, ribs, ribs. Ah. Well, guys, it's about that time of night. It's time to hit the hay. All right, it's 18 degrees out. That's a little bit of a tough situation deciding how you're gonna stay warm in that. Like I said before, I do not sleep with the heater on. There are some dangers that go along with that. What I feel is the absolute key factor in that is having the right sleeping bag. Now, part of living the van life is staying organized, doing it light, doing it lean, keeping yourself agile. Sure, I could stack up 5 or 6 blankets and this and that and pile it all on, but that's just not comfortable to me. And plus, it's just not practical when it comes to living in a van. I've got a 15-degree down sleeping bag that I feel is probably the most important key part to all of this, is staying warm through the night. Now, I've got a Cabela's XPG. I've had this sleeping bag since 2011. It's been great. I love down for the pure fact that when it's 18 degrees out, it'll keep you warm, but even when it's 75 degrees out, 80 degrees out, summertime, it's still comfortable. It's light, fluffy. It packs down into this. Everything, my whole entire bedding is all this right here. I do have a mattress topper that goes down over the Westfalia bed here that folds out, but when it comes down to what keeps me warm, this is it right here. Moving beyond the sleeping bag, there is a little bit of clothing that I recommend that you guys use. First off, stocking cap. Like everybody knows, most of the heat is lost through your head. I also like to put on a good, comfortable hooded sweatshirt. And I go ahead and I put the hood on over the top of the stocking cap. From there, a good, comfortable pair of sweatpants. Moving on to a good, comfortable pair of wool socks, thick socks. That coupled together with the sleeping bag, guys, it's tried and true. I've been doing this for years, and it works great with no heat. In fact, just a week ago, we were up here at Mount Baker. You guys saw the video when we were driving the vans in the cold and the blizzard. I broke a sweat. I woke up, it was 21 degrees, middle of the night, actually sweating in this exact same setup. So I'm really confident that even in this 18-degree night, I'm gonna be perfectly warm. I know that there's colder temperatures out there, and I know some of you guys out there are actually dealing with a lot tougher situations. That's great. I would love to hear more about your guys' experiences. Leave them in the comment section down below. Tell me all about it. I want to know what you guys do to keep warm through the night when it comes to cold weather survival in a van. This is what works for me. I hope you guys can find some information that works with it too. I'm going to bring a thermometer with me into the sleeping bag so that I can report back to you guys what the temperature is inside the sleeping bag. Then I'm going to have a thermometer sitting here in the van so that when I wake up in the morning, we know what kind of temperature it is in the van with the top pop all through the night. One thing I recommend while you still have your heater on, and about, 10, 15, 20 minutes before you actually jump into bed, lay your bedding out and let it warm up. In this particular situation with the Westfalia, before I go into bed mode, all of this is tucked away into the back. And when you first initially unfold it all, it's actually really cold. But after letting it all sit unfolded here for about 10, 15 minutes, the heat from the heater actually goes and warms it up, so that by the time you're actually ready to crawl into bed, things are heated up nicely for you. Now, like I said, with the sleeping bag, I don't actually use it like a sleeping bag. As you can see, I've got it unzipped and I've just got it laid out like a comforter. That brings up another point. One thing that I wish somebody would invent is just a good, hardcore, cold weather down comforter. Yeah, there's the rumple blankets. Those things are great. But the lowest temperature rating that I found in those is like 40 degrees. And quite frankly, that's just not going to cut it when it's 18 degrees outside. So moving beyond that, I've got the memory foam mattress topper that goes over the top of my stock Westfalia bed. And you know, I think that is a part of what makes this bed extremely comfortable, but also warm as well. Having that extra layer of foam under you is important for heat as well. Beyond that, I've got a couple pillows, and that's it. What you guys see here, that's how I stay warm even at 18 degrees while living in the van. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the hay. So guys, catch you in the morning. I tell you what, that's how you know when it's cold. The fact that you wake up and there's ice on the inside of your vehicle, it's cold outside. But you know what? Right here in the sleeping bag, freaking perfectly warm. In fact, inside the sleeping bag right now, the temperature says it's almost 80 degrees, which obviously most of you guys know that's pretty dang comfortable, especially when outside the sleeping bag there is ice on the windshield. And inside the van, it is a whopping 20 degrees. So there it is, point proven, inside a down sleeping bag. It's definitely survivable when it's 20 degrees inside your van. But you know what? I was perfectly warm inside my sleeping bag. And obviously that's the most important thing. That's where the Mr. Buddy heater comes in nicely. The fact that you can wake up, throw that thing on high, which is a whopping 18,000 BTUs. It doesn't take long for it to warm up inside of the van. Alright, well, at some point during the night it looks like the temperature outside the van dropped to a whole 10 degrees. But it's also interesting to see that even with the top popped, inside the van without any heat, it even kept it at still 20 degrees. So 10 degrees outside the van, 20 degrees inside the van, and 80 degrees inside the down sleeping bag. That's exactly what we wanted to see here. Van life in the cold winter days, it's definitely doable. Well, there we did it. We survived a night of cold weather camping in a van. And to be honest with you, that one was pushing the limits for me. That was actually a record. I think previous to this, about the coldest that I've ever been sleeping in my van was about 21 degrees. But anyways, I hope you guys find this information useful. It sure has helped me over the years to be able to become comfortable with camping in these sort of environments. So whether you're actually living and surviving in your van, or you're just going out and adventuring in your van, you don't want to let any sort of inclement weather come between you and an adventure. So these products here can help you get you through that. Again, guys, there will be information on all the products that I talked about in this video in the description below, so please go check those out if you're interested in any of those. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for following along. If you're new to the channel, push the subscribe button. Come on aboard for more adventures like this. If you like this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button. And quite honestly, I know there's a lot of you guys that have a lot of other information that is useful for situations like this when it comes to surviving cold weather in a van. And leave that information in the comments below. That kind of information can be useful to other viewers coming along and reading those comments. Plus, I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on it as well. Guys, peace out and keep on trucking.